Hi everyone, this is Sarfraz from Aristotle Prep, and we are looking at question 81 from the OG13 Critical Reasoning chapter. The stimulus says the attribution of the choral work Lacrimae to the composer Pescard has been regarded as tentative since it was based on a single treatise from the early 1500s that named Pescard as the composer. So all it says is there is a particular treatise which says that Pescard composed Lacrimae, but this fact is considered tentative because apart from that treatise, there is no other source which says that yes, Pescard did compose Lacrimae. Okay, the argument goes on to say that recently, several musical treatises from the late 1500s have come to light, all of which name Pescard as the composer of Lacrimae. Okay, so that provides support to the belief that Pescard did compose Lacrimae. Unfortunately, these newly discovered treatises lend no support to the attribution of Lacrimae to Pescard, since this is interesting. The conclusion is that these newly discovered 10, 15, 20 treatises that you've discovered, which also say that Pescard composed Lacrimae, they actually offer no support to that belief that Pescard composed Lacrimae. Why is that? The answer to the why is what has to go in the blank. So let's look at the options. A says, the treatise from the early 1500s misidentifies the composers of some of the musical works it considers. That's okay, so that treatise could be wrong, but what about the treatise found later, the 1520 that we found later? They also say that Pescard composed Lacrimae. So why are we discounting those? B says the author of the treatise from the early 1500s had no very strong evidence on which to base the identification of Pescard as the composer of Lacrimae. We understood that. But what about the latter treatise? They're also saying Pescard composed Lacrimae. So why are we discounting those? C says there are works that can conclusively be attributed to Pescard that are not even mentioned in the treatise from the early 1500s. Why should they even be mentioned in that? It makes no difference to us. Why should that treaty mention every work of Pescard? There's nothing in the argument to say that it should actually be the case. So C doesn't help us at all. D says the later treatises probably had no source for their attribution other than the earlier treatise. And that looks very good because see what it says is all the treatises that you found later, the 10, 15, 20 of those, they are all saying that Pescard composed Lacrimae, and the basis for them to say this is the earlier treaty, which was the early 1500s treaty. So they're all using that 1500s treaty as their source material. So then if the 1500 treaty is itself doubtful, the information in that, then all of these latter treaties also become doubtful because they all go back to that same original treaty. They have no other source for their claim. So this actually helps you discount all the latter treatises from the picture because they don't help at all. It all goes back to the same original 1500s treaty. So D should be the answer to this question. The last option says no known treatises from the 1600s identify Pescard as the composer of Lacrimae. That doesn't make any difference. So D should be the answer to the question. I would give it a 4 on a difficulty scale of 1 to 5. Have a nice day.